The word dinosaur was invented in 1842, fella. Not discovered, invented. Before that, for the entire recorded history of human civilization, these creatures had one name, dragon. And in 1936, Webster's dictionary listed dragon not as mythology, not as fairy tale, but as a real living animal. A huge serpent that was simply rare, not imaginary. Rare. The bones existed before 1842. The stories existed before 1842. The word dinosaur did not. One British scientist renamed them, and the oldest animal in human memory became a children's cartoon.
Same bones, new name, new story. The creature that every civilization documented as real was reclassified as imaginary in the same century it was given a scientific name. The timing is interesting.
Peter, dragons are mythological because no physical evidence of large fire-breathing winged reptiles exists in the fossil record. Dinosaur fossils are extensively documented and peer-reviewed. These are not the same category.
Shut up, Brian. Open Marco Polo's actual travel logs, the primary source. He documented creatures in Asia he called great serpents. Huge body, foreshort, massive jaws wide enough to swallow a man, eyes the size of bread loaves.
Marco Polo's Il Milione, written approximately 1300 AD, contains specific descriptions of what he called serpents in Yunnan province. The morphology matches large crocodilians. 4 short front limbs, massive jaw, large eyes. Dragon bile and dragon gall appear in Chinese pharmacopoeias as genuine medicinal substances, not symbolic medicine. These texts treat dragon products as animal-derived material, the same way a modern pharmacist handles bear bile or snake venom. The source was biological. The documentation is centuries deep.
Marco Polo filed it as a travel document. The Chinese filed it in medical records. 2 independent documentation systems, both treating the same creature as biological reality. The mythological reclassification came later, applied by people who had never been to Yunnan.
Okay, bro. Marco Polo is documented. Chinese medicine is documented. But we have dinosaur bones in museums. Physical evidence. That's not nothing, fam.
Go to your nearest natural history museum, Cleveland. Ask what percentage of their displayed specimens are original fossil material versus plaster reproductions. Then open the Book of Job, chapter 40. God describes an animal called behemoth, tail like a cedar tree, bones like tubes of bronze. The standard academic interpretation. Hippopotamus. A hippopotamus has a short, thin tail, nothing like a cedar tree. Chapter 41. Leviathan. Fire from its mouth, smoke from its nostrils. Standard interpretation. Crocodile. A crocodile does not breathe fire. These descriptions are 3,000 years old, still read by billions. And the academic interpretation requires them to be completely wrong about the most observable physical features of the animal.
The Smithsonian acknowledges that many display specimens use cast replicas. The Field Museum's T. rex sus is partially original fossil, partially reconstructed. The Brontosaurus at the American Museum of Natural History used a skull from a completely different animal for 80 years, acknowledged in 1979. The Brontosaurus reconstruction was substantially revised in 2014. The version displayed for decades was significantly inaccurate. These are museum corrections in their own documentation. The animal on display is an interpretation of fragmentary evidence, assembled, sculpted, posed. The reconstruction is the institution's best guess, not the original creature.
The skull was from a different animal for 80 years in the most visited natural history museum in the world. The correction appeared in a scientific journal. The tourists kept coming. The Brontosaurus kept its borrowed head. The history of paleontology is a history of confident reconstructions that were quietly wrong.
So the bones are partly plaster, partly borrowed from other animals. The creature was named in 1842. Job describes something with a cedar tree tail that doesn't match a hippopotamus, and the Chinese have been filing it as real medicine for centuries. What else, bro?
The Temple of Angkor Wat, fella. Built in Cambodia in the 12th century. The stone carvings cover hundreds of real animals, elephants, fish, monkeys, deer, all identified and cataloged. Among them, one carving that researchers have documented as morphologically consistent with a stegosaurus. Specific raised plates along the spine, specific body proportions, carved in 1200 AD among real animals by sculptors who documented what they observed 6 centuries before Richard Owen named the animal. In the Chinese zodiac, 12 animals: rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, pig, snake, and dragon. 11 you can find tomorrow. One the modern world classifies as imaginary. They did not include the phoenix, they included the dragon.
A 12th century temple, carved among real animals. Looks exactly like a stegosaurus, bro. That's not folklore, that's documentation.
Dragon morphology appears independently in ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, India, China, Japan, pre-Columbian Americas, and indigenous Australian traditions. No documented contact between these civilizations during the periods when descriptions first appear. The descriptions share consistent anatomical features: large reptilian body, scaled skin, powerful jaws, sometimes front limbs. Shared symbols across isolated cultures can be explained as psychological archetypes, universal fears taking similar form. But archetypes explain symbols. They do not explain anatomy. You cannot have an archetype of a specific spinal plate configuration. That requires observation. Anatomy is not a fear. Anatomy is something you saw.
Every ancient civilization, no contact, same animal, same anatomy, same medicine, same documentation. The explanation that all of them independently invented the same imaginary creature with the same specific morphology is less logical than the explanation that all of them saw the same real one. Occam's razor applies to dragons too.
Richard Owen coined dinosaur in 1842. Dinos, terrible, sauros, lizard. The question I cannot answer: when exactly did the dragon become imaginary, and who decided?
One man decided, fella, 1842. He gave it a Greek name, and Greek names belong to institutions. The dragon belonged to farmers and doctors and sailors and historians. The dinosaur belongs to paleontologists, and paleontologists decide what you're allowed to believe about it. The next time your kid watches a dinosaur movie, the creature on screen has a name that's 182 years old. The stories it came from are 5,000 years old. One is called science, the other is called myth. The only difference is who did the naming.
The oldest animal in human memory, documented on every continent, carved among real animals in a 12th century temple, listed in a 1936 dictionary as rare, not imaginary, filed in Chinese medical records as a biological source, described in texts still read by billions, renamed in in 1842, reclassified as myth, put in a museum with a borrowed skull, and now it's a children's cartoon. Someone decided all of that was fine in 1842 with one word.